son of perdition. Now, J.R., there's been much discussion about this verse.
Yes, there are some things you need to know about this verse. It will make it so much clearer to you. So listen carefully as Gary goes through this exegesis. And one of the first things I want you to know is that little term, that day shall not come, is not there.
It's not there, and it's not there in the Greek text. And in fact, if I just open my Greek text to this spot, what I will discover is that it says, "Let no one deceive you in any way, because unless the falling away comes first, and is revealed the man of sin, the son of perdition." So it places this as a condition. Unless, using the Greek aeon, which is very specific, unless these conditions have already happened, these conditions cannot happen. So if you lay it out in that way, it's very, very clear.
Now, this is a mistranslation of the Greek text here.
In a sense,
by
it
the
is.
King James translators.
In a way, it's a clarification. They put that phrase, "for that day shall not come," in there to clarify.
Meaning the day of Christ.
The day of Christ.
Which they considered to be the day of the Lord, the day of judgment.
I think so. And so what they were trying to do was clarify for their readers the actual sequence of events. And in fact, for us, it really doesn't clarify the situation at all.
It muddies the water.
It muddies the water a bit.
The day of Christ refers to the rapture, the joyous, wonderful, blessed hope, expectation, resurrection and rapture.
Oh, yes.
Rest with us when Jesus comes to deliver judgment with his mighty angels.
And so Paul very clearly states it. These things that you know are going to come, according to the Old Testament prophets, will not come unless, and then we come to the other phrase, a falling away comes first.
Now there's another mistranslation, Gary.
Well, it is.
It's not a falling away, it's the falling away.
Absolutely. And Dr. English spends a lot of time on this. It is the falling away, using the definite article, the falling away. And then he goes on to explain that the terms translated falling away are really better translated departure. As in, departing from a bus station to take a bus, or departing from one city and going to another city.
Okay, so because of the King James translators, the idea is that there will be a departure from the faith, that there will be a lot of people lose heart and fall from grace and go into apostasy and all of this kind of thing. This is not at all what this verse is saying, so listen carefully.
As a matter
listen carefully.
And listen to this. As a matter of fact, the term translated falling away is used 15 times in the New Testament. And he points out that in 11 of these 15 occurrences, the actual word depart is used to be the operant word, as in the departure of the angel who had freed Peter from prison. After the angel freed Peter from prison, he departed from Peter. Or another example, Paul prayed that the thorn in his flesh might depart from him, using this very same term. And 11 out of the 15 times this term is used in the New Testament, it's always used to depart. And furthermore, the other instances, the other 4 instances, always have conditional phrases with them. They're never directly translated as apostasy or as a religious falling away.
Now, there were 5 English translations of the Bible that preceded the King James Version. All 5 of these ancient English Bibles have this translated the departure or the departing.
That's true. The Tyndale, the Coverdale, the Cranmer, the Geneva Bible, the Beza Bible, all translate departure rather than apostasy. So let's put this together, J.R. The King James has a falling away to translate he apostasia.
Which means the falling away. Or the departure.
The departure. And Dr. English says, and I quote, "The departure is assuredly an acceptable translation of he apostasia and is, in our opinion, the proper one." Now, let's talk for a second, and we're coming short on time here, but let's talk about the difference between the definite and the indefinite article.
All right.
If I say to you, "I'm going to meet you at a store," you have a question in your mind. Well, which store? But if I say to you, "I'm going to meet you at the store," then it supposes that we both know which store it is, that I've already told you about which store it is, and I say to you, "I'm going to meet you at the store," and you say, "Okay." Well, that's exactly what we have here. "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come the falling away," or the departure first. Paul's writing his second letter to the Thessalonians. He's already written one letter in which he explains something in great detail, the departure of the church. Now he writes a second letter, and he says, he uses the term "the departure." Now, if he had said "a departure," they might have said, which departure is he talking about? But he didn't. He said "the departure," the only one I have ever told you about. And if you drop down to verse 5, Paul even puts it more plainly. He says, "Remember you not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things?" In other words, Paul's audience was supposed to understand what he was talking about when he mentioned the departure.
Yes.
And you talk about reassurance and comfort. I'm sure that many a fevered brow was wiped off that day as the Thessalonians read this letter and said, "Oh, we know what he's talking about. The church is going to be gone before any of these things begin to happen."
Yes. Gone before the man of sin is revealed.
That's right.
Now, please understand that this little term, "that day shall not come," is in italics. If you look at your Bible at that verse, you will see that it is written in italics, which means it is not there in the original Greek. So, the day of Christ being at hand does not refer to the day of the Lord. People who say, well, the day of Christ cannot come except there come a falling away first and that man of sin be revealed, that is not the reading of this. The day of Christ meaning the rapture. And it does not say that day shall not come except. It just says concerning the day of the rapture, the day of Christ, our wonderful blessed hope, there will be the departing first. That's us.
That's
the
us.
rapture. Then that man of sin will be revealed, the son of perdition.
Wow.
It's a tremendous study. I hope you'll get the magazine and read it for yourself. This is J.R. Church and Gary Sturman. Until next time, keep looking up.
Prophecy in the News is a viewer-supported ministry sponsored by our many friends across America and in your area. For your gift of $10, you can receive a special edition of our current program on audio tape, or for a gift of $20, we'll send you our programs on videotape. For either order, call the 800 number on your screen right now.